In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a rear wheel bearing hub on a Subaru Forester. It is located behind the rear wheel. After you raised and supported your vehicle safely, you have 5 lug nuts. You need to remove those. Those are 19mm nuts. And remove your wheel. After removing your wheel, you need to remove your axle nut. That is a 32mm. We're on the back side of the backing plate now. We need to remove these 2 14mm bolts for our caliper and caliper bracket. Slide those off the rotor and put it off to the side. Just make sure this part is secure so you don't pinch the hose. Now we're back onto the front side. We're going to slide our rotor towards us and put that off to the side. Now we need to remove our emergency brake shoes and springs. Now, it's a little tech tip for you. This is a good time to possibly maybe take a picture of this so that way you know where the springs go when you go to reinstall. You can use a tool like this. Take the top springs off first. Take your spacer out. Now onto the bottom where your adjuster is, you just want to pry your 2 shoes outwards and remove your adjuster. You should have a spring that goes over your adjuster. Ours is missing, but you need to remove yours. Now onto the top part, if you spread these 2 out, you can take your shim out, put that off to the side. Now you remove your springs. You can use a tool like that by pushing in and turning. You can switch to a pair of needle nose pliers. Remove your spring and your cover. Do the same thing on the other side to the other spring. Remove this shoe. This shoe is going to be hooked to your emergency brake cable. You need to remove that from the cable. You can do that by pulling back the spring, clamping it, and sliding it off. Now you can remove your pins by pushing them straight forward and out the back. Now you need to remove this 12mm bolt from this arm. Now on the back side of the lower control arm, you have another 12mm bolt. You need to remove that one. Slide your clamp up, just put them off to the side. Now on the bottom side of your lower control arm, you have a 17mm bolt with a nut on the back. Remove that. Now next to that is a through bolt for your lower control arms here. That's a 19mm. You need to remove that. Take a rubber mallet. You can maneuver your lower control arm off to the side while trying to remove the bolt. You need to remove your ABS sensor from the back side of your backing plate. It is held in by a 12mm bolt. Ours broke, so I had to drill it out and then we're going to replace it. We're trying to remove the ABS sensor by twisting it. This could possibly break, and if it does, you need to drill that out also. Part of our ABS sensor is still inside the back of the backing plate, so ours is definitely going to need to be replaced after we drill the pieces out. Your emergency brake cable goes into the back side of your backing plate here. It is held on by one C-clip. You need to remove your C-clip. You can do that by taking a pick and try spreading the two ends and pull it out towards you. Once you removed your C-clip, you can take a pair of pliers here and twist and try to pull it out of the back of the backing plate. On the back side of your knuckle, you have two bolts that hold it to the strut. Those are 19 millimeters. You need to remove those. Once you remove those two bolts, you can tap on your strut and pull your knuckle towards you. On the back side of your knuckle, you have two seals. You need to remove both. We flipped our knuckle around in our vise. Now we're going to need to remove the hub from the bearing. To do that, we're going to use our hub and bearing removal tool. We've installed our tool on our front side. Now if you look on the back side here, this is your hub. That part is your bearing. So we're going to use a small cup to press out just this section. When installing a new hub, you need to transfer your ABS sensor tone wheel over to the new hub. It's held on by 4 H5 Allen head screws. You want to tighten those 4 bolts. Now we're ready to install our hub into our wheel bearing. We're using the same tool that we did to install the wheel bearing, just different size cups. Make sure your hub spins freely. We have our new seals. Your thinner seal goes in first. I'm going to use a cup from our press that's the same size as the seal to tap that down so it doesn't bend the seal. And then our thicker goes in second. Now you can take your knuckle, slide it over your axle, and up, and put one bolt in on your strut. Now you can install your nut, and you can install your bottom strut bolt. We're on the back side of the backing plate now. We're going to install our emergency brake cable by sliding it in and putting our clip on. Once you have your cable seated, install your clip. When you're installing your clip, you want to bring it in from the right side here. Push till it clips in, and then make sure it's secure. Now we're going to install our long bolt through both of our lower control arms and our knuckle. Install our washer and our nut. Now we can install our forward control arm. You can use a pry bar and pry one of your arms just so you can align your bolt hole when your control arm and your knuckle. Install your nut. Before you tighten down or torque any bolt for your suspension, you should lift the suspension with a bottle jack or a jack to your ride height. I'm doing ours by just using a bottle jack. We're going to start with our lower control arm here. And that gets torqued at 50 foot-pounds. Then we're going to tighten this long bolt here. And that's 55 foot-pounds. Then we're going to tighten our two strut bolts. And those two get torqued down at 148 foot-pounds. Now we can remove our jack. And install our axle nut. Before we install our shoes, you have mounting points. There's 6 of them. You want to put a little bit of anti-seize on those mounting points. Your emergency brake shoe lever hooks to your cable. In order to install that, take a pair of pliers, clamp the ball at the end, take a pair of cutters. While holding this, slide this up and apply a little bit of pressure. Remove your clamp. Take your new shoe, slide it into its pocket, and release. The pins and springs that hold both sides of your shoe, your pin goes in from the back side of your backing plate, spring goes on the front side. What they do is they go in, then you twist, and it locks. So if you put your pin in through the back side, take your new shoe, swing it up, install it into that hole. Take your spring with your spring tool and install your spring. Now install your pin on the other side through the backing plate from the back side. Through the hole of the shoe and install your spring. I'm going to try using a different tool like that. Now we're going to install our spacer. Our spacer has a long pointy end here that always goes to the rear of the vehicle and out. So if we take our shoes, spread them out a little bit, sneak this behind here. Make sure it's fully seated on both shoes. Just like that. Now we're going to take our shim, install it on there, take our spring, hook it in that hole, and put the spring onto this post. We're going to use a tool like that, which holds the spring and slides it over the post. Now we're going to take our spring from the other side, hook it into that, and use our spring tool. Last part to install is our emergency brake shoe adjuster. That comes in 3 pieces. You have a piece on one end, and the other end unscrews. You want to clean these threads, put a little bit of anti-seize on them, and reinstall. Clean off the excess. We're on the bottom part of the shoe. This is where your adjuster gets installed. You can put these 2 ways. There's the wrong way and the right way. The right way is your threads always go to the rear of the vehicle. Now install your bottom spring. Before you install your rotor, you want to make sure that your adjuster is adjusted all the way in. That's going to help put the rotor back onto the hub. Slide your rotor onto your hub. You should have a little bit of drag and just listen for those shoes hitting the inside of this rotor. On the back side of your backing plate on the bottom, there's a rubber plug. If you remove that rubber plug, that's going to give you access to your adjuster. Once you remove your plug, you can take a brake adjustment tool like this, go in from the back side, listen for the clicks. If you're pushing up, that's tightening your shoes. You want to spin the wheel or spin your rotor, and just make sure it has a little bit of drag. Once it has a little bit of drag, stop and reinstall your plug. Now you can reinstall your caliper. Slide it over the rotor and install your 2 bolts. Now you can tighten those 2 bolts. And torque both of them down to 45 foot-pounds. Now you can install your ABS sensor bracket to the lower control arm. And then tighten those 2 12mm bolts. Now you can install your speed sensor into your backing plate. Install your 12mm bolt and tighten it. And that bolt gets torqued down at 24 foot-pounds. You need to torque your axle nut at 137 foot-pounds. You can either have a friend sit in the driver's seat, put his foot on the brake so this rotor doesn't move, or you can use a pry bar like that. You can do it yourself. To install your wheel, you slide it over to your lug nut studs. Install your lug nuts. And tighten those in a star pattern. And those get torqued down to 65 foot-pounds. You want to torque those in a star pattern.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.